Oh boy, we have another Nintendo fanboy sitting there trying to say the Switch 2 has a lot of potential. Let's see what he has to say.
Hey everybody, Retrofied here. Today is day 18 in this month-long marathon leading up to the Switch 2's launch. And for today's video, I want to talk about how the Switch 2 has unlimited potential.
Oh yeah, unlimited potential to rip you off.
So I've said in previous videos, but the Switch 2 is a culmination of all things Nintendo. And what I mean by this is that they have perfected their systems over 30 plus years of making these systems.
That remains to be seen there, Retrofied.
And it really shows in everything that is in the Switch 2. A lot of the features we're seeing on the Switch 2, like the mouse controls and like the motion controls.
I mean, the mouse controls were definitely a nice touch, but are you forgetting that damn chat function? Come on, man, that chat function is terrible.
Really culminate to make this the Nintendo system. Basically, everything that Nintendo has done in the past is encapsulated into the Switch 2.
Yeah, that's very true. And you can't sit there and forget the rip-off that they've done in the past also.
And you might not realize it at first because the Switch 2 looks like the Switch 1. The Switch 1 wasn't necessarily like that, but the Switch 2 has so
You're right, it does look like the Switch 1, just bigger.
much potential when you look at it this way. With a lot of the new games we're seeing that are going to be coming out on the Switch 2, and a lot of the old games that are being ported to the Switch 2, the Switch 2 has the potential to be the system with the biggest library.
Unless they make everything backwards compatible where they can create an adapter where you can slip on a Super Nintendo cartridge or an N64 in a cartridge on one end and slip it in the machine, there's no way that library is going to be that damn big. Unless they sit there and do some type of Game Pass, come on, I don't see Nintendo ever doing that, Retrofied.
Ever. Not just Nintendo, but every single system. Because the Switch 2 is so...
You can sit there and add up every single console, every one of Nintendo's console, every one of PC's console, and every one of Xbox consoles, and it still will never compare to the library that the PC has.
powerful. It has the power to potentially run Wii U games virtually. So later on down the road, we could be seeing Virtual Console coming back with Wii U games, or we could see Wii U being added to Nintendo Switch Online.
Well, they can sit there and do it right now. It doesn't have to be done in the future. You think that they can't sit there and have it done? Come on, they're playing the Switch 1 games, and I believe from what I'm hearing, it's emulation.
And same thing goes for the Wii, and same thing also goes for the 3DS. Every single Nintendo system has the chance to have all of its games be on the Switch 2.
I'm pretty certain if they were going to do that, they would have already done that by now. But again, Nintendo is very bad at marketing.
Because we've already seen so many games with Switch Online, and they're going to obviously want to add more.
They only have 170 games on that online service that you're talking about, when there are hundreds upon hundreds of first-party titles alone that Nintendo has done throughout this history.
To get more people to buy Switch Online. So in a couple years, we could be seeing the entire NES, SNES, N64 library being on the Switch 2. The N64 doesn't even have
Are you willing to hold your breath on that? I'm pretty certain if they would have done it, they would have done it by now.
300 games. So porting every single one wouldn't be that much of a struggle for Nintendo.
No, it wouldn't, but with how anti-consumer Nintendo is, there's no way they're going to sit there and do that, now without charging you up the yin-yang for it.
But just because it has the power to run Wii U games, doesn't mean we're not going to be getting any more remasters or remakes.
Well, of course they're going to continue to do a remaster and remakes. Just look at how many other titles have already been confirmed because, you know, doing the Switch 2 version, that's nothing more than a remaster.
I think we could honestly be seeing so many more remasters, reimaginings, remakes of a lot of old Nintendo games because of this.
Well, of course they are. All the big companies are doing it. It's cheaper to sit there and remaster them than it is to make a game brand spanking new.
Because like I said earlier, every single part of these systems is on the Switch 2. So instead of speaking about the past of Nintendo, what is the future of Nintendo going to look like?
I mean, you literally just sat there and said it. The future of Nintendo is bringing the older games over to the Switch 2. I mean, literally you sat there and said, oh, let's not talk about past Nintendo, but all that stuff is going to have to be done in the future. That doesn't make no sense there, Retrofied.
We know obviously that the big new gimmick of the Switch 2 is the mouse controls, and these mouse controls are crazy. They are a whole new motion control method.
I mean, I don't know if everyone's excited for it. I'm not really that excited for it because I didn't really care for the motion control when it came to the Wii.
And you don't realize it at first, but like this could be used way more than the Wii. And not just to make games have like a computer mouse in them, but for games to have a control method where you can drag the controllers to move around.
I know that if you got any first-person shooting games, I think those are pretty good, but oh wait, you guys don't have those just yet.
Because in Drag and Drive, we're seeing so many cool new features that are using the mouse controls. And the game just looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look amazing, but I mean, it doesn't have much to it. It doesn't look like it. Honestly, I think it's just going to be like a little multiplayer game you can play with friends and family. I'm just hoping they don't overcharge you guys like they are for everything else.
At first, I thought, it didn't look really good, but now it looks just incredible, and I'm so excited to get my hands on it. And with
I bet you are excited.
these mouse controls, we could be seeing so many more PC games coming out on the Switch 2. I know a lot of people are hating on the Switch 2, saying, well, later down the road, the third-party support's gonna be gone.
Most likely it will.
No, it's not. Switch 2 has such a big potential to actually have so much good third-party games on it that we're gonna be seeing so many more third-party games.
I mean, it's a strong possibility. You never know. It could sit there and still compete. But I just have a hard time that this system that can't even sit there and run the games just as well as the PS5 can, with like graphic wise, that is going to be able to do it when the PS6 comes. I don't think it's going to be able to handle those demand of those games.
I think we could honestly be seeing way more than even the PS5, or even more than the Series S, because Xbox, I believe, has more games on it because of Game Pass, and Microsoft just owns so many studios.
Yeah, and also with Game Pass, it's the best online subscription service that you can have for video gaming. It goes Xbox Game Pass, Sony Plus, and then Nintendo. Literally, Nintendo has the worst online subscription service you can get.
But we could be seeing some PC games that are only on PC, have never been on any consoles, be put over on the Switch 2.
You never know, it's a possibility. Well, how much the Nintendo players always hate on PC, I don't know if that'll ever happen.
And that's actually great for so many people. I know it's so normalized to have a PC now, but a lot of younger people too don't have PCs.
That is true. I will sit there and say there is a learning curve when it comes to the PC, but once you figure it out, it's actually a pretty amazing system.
And a lot of people don't really want to build a PC or go buy a pre-built because the market is so confusing sometimes.
Oh yes, it could be very confusing. That's why I would look for a person who's a friend who sits there and has a PC that can help you out with that.
And PCs are so expensive. My PC that I currently am using, that I'm using to record this video, cost me over $800.
Is it a gaming PC or just a regular PC? Because it sounds like for $800 you could have got something better if it's not a gaming PC.
To build over 6 years ago. So it's an expensive thing to get into, and the fact that a lot of PC games can come out on the system that's only $450 is incredible. And
you can build a budget PC for $700 if you know where to find the stuff at, and you can sit there and have a more phenomenal than any other consoles.
when you look at it compared to the Steam Deck, yes, the Steam Deck can do that too. It probably has more PC games. But the Switch 2 has so many Nintendo games on it, and it has so many cool...
From what I've heard, I've never had a Steam Deck, but from what I've heard, they also have a lot of Nintendo games on there, more than what the Switch has.
Features that you can't get on a Steam Deck, like motion controls and like the mouse feature. Like, yes, the Steam Deck does have a trackpad, but it doesn't have that dragging feature like the Switch 2's mouse controls.
Yeah, but I've never heard anybody complain about that, to be honest, because even when I play on my gaming laptop, I don't use a keyboard and mouse, I use a controller.
So I think, honestly, if you're conflicted about getting a Steam Deck or a Switch 2, wait a couple years, because the Switch 2 could get so many more third-party games and truly unlock its unlimited potential.
Yes, to rip you off. That is the unlimited potential that Nintendo's going to have over you, is how to figure out more ways to rip you off.
So another really big thing about the Switch 2 is so many new features can come out. We've been seeing for probably 20 years now that systems can have internet access on them, which means...
Yep, and somehow the consoles love to rip you off with that online feature, especially Nintendo. Their online feature is the worst.
They can get updates throughout time instead of just being the same system from the day you bought it to the day you upgrade to your next system. So we could be seeing so many more software updates, so many just features coming out because of these software updates.
I mean, if they've had it for the last 20 years, why haven't they been doing that already, huh?
But the biggest thing is we could be seeing so many new controller options and little add-ons to the Switch 2. There are so many
I know what add-on they're going to add. You're so correct. They will do an add-on. They're going to add on another subscription service to where they'll only rip you off half the time.
patents that Nintendo has leading up to the Switch 2 that we haven't seen yet. Now, I know a lot of companies don't really use their patents all the time, but some of these patents are crazy.
Oh no, you must not be paying attention to that Pile World's lawsuit. They're definitely trying to utilize those patents against them.
Like, you have bending controllers, second screens, mouse, detachable Pro controllers. There are so many different patents that Nintendo has that they could use to add some really...
Yeah, when it comes to those bendable controller patents, I don't think you understand what they're really intending. I think they're trying to talk about more like a flip phone type style of Joy-Con.
Really cool things to the Switch 2. And lastly, the Switch 2 has so much potential when it comes to first-party games. I've said in previous videos, but Nintendo is redoing all of their franchises for the Switch 2.
Just because they're adding bare minimal upgrades does not mean we should be applauding that they're redoing the games and then charging you an extra $10 to $20 for it.
Some older franchises, some newer franchises. I think we could be seeing a bunch of first-party games that are just completely redoings of those games.
Like which ones? Can you please explain?
Something you couldn't get on any other Nintendo system. We're already seeing this Mario Kart World being a complete redo of Mario Kart.
Well, like I said before, it's a sequel. It should sit there and be better than the last one, but I still don't think it's worth no $80.
And we're seeing this with so many other games too. But if they were to keep doing this for so many different franchises, the first party support is unlimited.
The unlimited amount of ripoff.
We could see the Switch 2 lasting even longer than the Switch 1 just because of the first party games and their unlimited potential.
My guy, all their first party ones that they're coming out with are nothing but a ripoff. So, Donkey Kong Bonanza, ripoff. Mario Kart World, ripoff. Both the Zelda games via an update like that, rip off. I mean, I can keep going on and on if you like.
I know personally I'd love to see a Luigi's Mansion 4 being redone for the Switch 2. And also, it's not just...
I mean, a Luigi's Mansion 4, to my knowledge, the last one was Luigi Mansion 3. So if it was a Luigi Mansion 4, then that means it'll be a brand new game, not a redone.
New games that could be reimaginings of old games. It's also remakes. They can make so many new remakes that are just complete retellings of the same story.
Well, that I agree with you on. They need to sit here and do a remakes. Nintendo, we have been waiting for a Yoshi Island remake and we want it now.
This is kind of off topic, but Nintendo came out with a Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time manga that followed the same storyline of the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Well, that is rumored that it's supposed to be a remake, and they're going to charge probably $90 for that one.
But got rid of the gameplay elements and it made it its own complete story. I'd love to see something like this happen with Ocarina of Time, where the story is so much more prevalent instead of the gameplay that we got on the N64.
That would be nice, but I swear, if they put Breath of the Wild elements like the breakable weapons, I would be so pissed.
Obviously, I'm not saying I want them to just come out with an animated movie that you can play here and there. No, I want it to be obviously the same game as Ocarina of Time, but they could do so much more with these games because
you're giving them horrible ideas. Next thing you know, they're going to give it the Breath of the Wild treatment.
Because of the power and because of all these controls, they could do anything. So if you guys are excited about the Switch 2, make sure you leave a comment below telling me what you're excited about, because we don't have many more days till the Switch 2 comes.
Unfortunately, we still got many more days left. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.